Hello, welcome to or back to my channel. My name is Stevie, this is Stevie Reads, and we are in June, people. I cannot believe that it is the time of the year for everyone to reflect on what they've read so far, talk about goals for the second half of the year. I filmed the mid-year book freakout tag last year around this time, and that was a lot of fun, but this year I just wanted to talk about the books that I'm excited to read because I have so many that I want to read in the second half. So far this year, I think I've read a little less than 60 books. So I have a stack of 10 most anticipated, and I know that I can get through these 10. Anyway, without further ado, we will jump right into it. Book number 1 is going to be Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare. This is going to be my first ever Cassie Clare book. I missed the hype of the Mortal Instruments and everything because I didn't read it when I was younger. I did at one point own the Mortal Instruments box set, and I was really wanting to fall in love with the series, but clearly not that bad because I owned them for 4 years or something before I eventually unhauled because I knew I was never going to start that. It just felt like committing to a lot of YA, and I was like, maybe she's just not the author for me. But then she put out her first adult fantasy that is not connected to that universe or storyline at all, and I've heard a lot of good things just about her as a writer, but also about this book, and the second book just came out recently too, and I've heard so much praise for that second one. So I think it's a good time to start this right now. I'll be able to read the second one, and then hopefully the third comes out next year or something. But yeah, I just really want in on the Cassandra Clare hype. This feels like the right place to start. And then book number 2 is Every Time I Go on Vacation, Someone Dies by Catherine Mack. I really just wanted a cozy mystery to take to the lake. I don't have any grand plans for this summer, but I know that I'm going to go to the lake a couple of times, and I just want to throw this book in my beach bag. I'm hoping that the cover is not deceiving. It just looks like a fun mystery time and very summery, so really want to pick this one up soon. And then the next 2 books are YA after I just barely said that I'm not really reading a lot of YA, which is normally the case for me. Over recent years, I have read 1 YA book a year, reluctantly as well. I was just really not into that genre, but I counted before this video just out of curiosity. I wanted to know, and I have read 8 young adult books this year. So insane, but it's how I started the year because I reread the Cruel Prince trilogy and continued on in that duology too. And then I have been slowly doing a Twilight reread. So the 3rd book on this list is Eclipse, which is a little bit of a cop-out because I've just been reading one of these a month. Well, it's only been 2 months so far, but I read Twilight in April and New Moon in May, so hopefully I can read Eclipse in June and just keep doing that. Obviously, I need to finish and reread Breaking Dawn, and then I also want to reread Midnight Sun, but I'm having so much fun with these. I haven't read these books in over a decade, and I am especially excited about Eclipse. It's my favorite movie, so hopefully it's my favorite book too, but this one is happening very, very soon. And then after my Twilight reread, I'm just really loving going back to childhood favorites and rereading series, and I finally hauled the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes as well as Sunrise on the Reaping. But when this book originally came out and the movie, I was kind of a hater, and I think maybe it's because I just love the original Hunger Games trilogy so much. I love those books, and I didn't care about a story trying to redeem President Snow, but I don't think that's what this is. I think I was just being stubborn. But everyone has said that this is amazing, that the movie is amazing, and I somehow haven't been spoiled by the book yet. But also, Sunrise on the Reaping just came out, and I definitely want to read Haymitch's story, so I need to start here. I really want to pick up the Ballads of Songbirds and Snakes, read Sunrise on the Reaping, reread the entire Hunger Games trilogy. I am just a rereading / series queen right now, and I was suspicious of this at first, but now I really want to give it a go. Speaking of me being a series girly, earlier this year I read Fear the Flames by Olivia Rose Darling. I think I pulled this out of the TBR jar, and this was everything I wanted in a romantasy. I loved the found family, and it is the only romantasy I have given 5 stars this year. It was so good and I really want to continue on. The second book, Wrath of the Dragons, is coming out at the end of July, July 29th. So this is just a stand-in for that book, but I cannot wait to pick up that sequel. Next up is kind of a freebie because of how little it is. Could probably knock it out in an afternoon, but nonetheless, The Grown Up by Gillian Flynn is on this list. I adore Gillian Flynn, mostly because of Gone Girl, but I've also read Sharp Objects and Dark Places and gave both of those 4s. So overall, she's a really good author for me, and I just cannot believe that I haven't picked up this one from her. It's a short story, a ghost short story, and maybe I will wait for the spooky season, but this is a tiny little thriller that I am just really excited for. Her twists are always insane and her writing is so amazing. Like, I just know I'm gonna have a really good time with this. So, The Grown Up. And then I have a lot of stand-ins for this next book. Also a new release for 2025 that has not come out yet, but Catabasis, I think that's how you say it, by R.F. Kuang is coming out August 26th. And I have read everything R.F. Kuang has written. I have loved all of these books. All 5 have been 5 stars for me, so I haven't even really looked into what Catabasis is about all that much, but I don't care at all. I love R.F. Kuang's writing and her storytelling so much. It's always really lyrical and beautiful and heartbreaking a lot of the time, but I love these books so much. So my expectations for Catabasis might be a little bit high, but it's coming out late August and I know that it is not going to sit on my TBR for very long because she really is that girl. But number 8, I think this is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. This is another book that has been on my TBR for a couple of years. I think it won adult sci-fi on Goodreads one year. I've heard so much praise about this story and I haven't really been in my sci-fi era. I reread all of Red Rising, that's the series behind me, and those books broke me. They're so good. And I've read like a couple contemporary like sci-fi, but not like a big intense one like this is going to be. But I want to get back into my sci-fi era, hoping Andy Weir can do the job. I've just seen this on so many people's like favorites list at the end of the year since it's come out. I think it came out in 2021 and still every year I catch this book in somebody's favorites. And it's also a soul survivor story. Like, this man wakes up on a planet, the nearest person is light years away. Don't know the whole story clearly, but it seems like an interesting one and I think it's finally time. And then very on brand for me, but books 9 and 10 are a romantasy and a romance. So number 9 is The Courting of Bristol Keats by Mary E. Pearson. This is another author just like R.F. Kuang where I've read 5 of her books and given all 5 of them 5 stars. And this was a lot of years ago, but in 2019 I read The Remnant Chronicles. Loved this. 2019 is when I was getting back into reading, so this is one of the first series that I fell for outside of like Twilight and Hunger Games. I finally branched out, picked up another one. Then in 2020 I read this duology. Obviously both were 5 stars again, and it was so long ago that I read those books that I can't remember the plot anymore or why I liked them. I had to look up on Goodreads when I had read them, but they were YA and when I was a young adult I really enjoyed. And now this is Mary E. Pearson's first adult novel, and I've looked into the plot of it. It seems very basic as far as like we're following a human who goes to the Fae land and strikes a deal with the Fae king, yada yada yada. I feel like I've read that plot a million times, but I'm very excited to read this because it's Mary E. Pearson. It's been 5 years. I want to get reacquainted with her writing. I splurged and got the Fairy Loot edition, and part of that was because I really don't like the normal cover that is being sold for it, but another reason is I just really think I'm going to love this book. And I hauled it pretty recently, and since I've hauled it, it has just been staring at me from my shelves, so this is happening soon. And last but not least, book number 10, Funny Story by Emily Henry. Speaking of people's favorites list, like, this was on so many people's 2024 top 10 list, and I've never given Emily Henry a 5 star. People we meet on vacation Vacation was 2 and I unhauled it. Happy Place was 3, and then Book Lovers and Beach Read I really liked. I gave both those 4, but I was waiting for the paperback to come out for this story to haul it. So it finally did, and I was able to pick it up. It's the only Emily Henry that I own that I haven't read, and the plot for this one is pretty convoluted. It's like 2 couples were engaged and then they broke up, and then 2 of the people from that couple fell in love and got engaged, and then the other 2 leftovers, those are the main characters of this story. So when they're falling in love, it's like their ex-fiance's ex. I know it sounds ridiculous, but it's also like a they were roommates story because they're roommates and then they fall in love. But anyway, even with that kind of crazy premise, I like Emily Henry, don't love her, but I'm hoping that this will be the first like favorite that I get from her. And it's the only contemporary romance that I had on this whole list. I don't want to pick that up because it is a heavy stack, but that is my top 10 books that I am so excited to read in the second half of this year, minus Catabasis and Wrath of the Dragons, but those will be hauled very, very soon. Thank you so much for watching. Comment down below anything that you are excited to read this year. My TBR is ever growing and I am very curious, but all my socials are linked down below like always, and I will see you next Wednesday for another video very, very soon. Bye!